Okay, so this is part 3 of Easy Care Plants. Um, I am now going to do the third plant that I was originally going to include in part 2, but the video was going on too long because I talk forever. So let's just get right into it. Philodendrons. Philodendrons are, in general, they are an easier care plant. Now that is going to vary sometimes widely depending on what kind of philodendron you get. And some of the more rare special varieties might have more specialized care. But if you're watching this video, you're probably, you might be a beginner plant owner, or you're just trying to learn more, and you're probably not going to be searching for the $500 philodendrons. That's it. And it's a big investment too. Like, I myself, like, even if somebody were to give me, say, like, if someone were to give me a Philodendron Spiritus Sancti, which is an amazing plant, and it's also one of the most like rare sought after houseplants, like in the houseplant community in the market right now. It's a huge like holy grail for houseplant people. If someone were to just give me one, I would probably either sell it or give it to someone to like take care of it, someone even more experienced than me to take care of it, because it's such a valuable special plant that I wouldn't trust myself with it. So yeah, we're not going to be talking about any of the rare, more special philodendrons, but philodendrons do come in a huge variety of forms and shapes, and it's crazy. So this video, I guess, will just be all about philodendrons. I would say one of the easier kind to get is something like this. This is a heartleaf philodendron, and it's a trailing plant, or you can also get it to climb. You can have it climb up a trellis or a moss pole. These are fairly easy. Their care is gonna be very, very similar to a pothos. You want to wait until the soil is either completely dry or almost completely dry, and then give it a good thorough watering. Definitely make sure you don't overwater it. It's going to be good in a variety of light situations. Ideal light, again, is bright and direct, but a lot of them will do okay with low light. The reason why in my experience, that I think philodendrons are not quite as easy as pothos is that I think, just again, in my experience, I feel like they need a little bit more light than a pothos needs, right? I just feel like a pothos is much more resilient in terms of like, I'm barely getting any light, but it's okay. I'll just kind of trudge along. I won't be like thriving, but I'll be okay. Whereas I just feel like a philodendron's just a little bit more delicate, and a little bit just harder to kind of, adapt to just any situation. I feel like pothos are much better with that. So I would definitely, like, if you have a area where like, oh, I'm just barely getting any light, I'm not sure, like, try a pothos there first. If you want like a pretty hanging plant that's also easy, try a pothos there first, and then you can try philodendron, but just watch it, and like, if it's a really low light area, and just like make sure that you're observing it. And if you start to notice signs that it's not getting enough light, then definitely move it and give it more light, or get a grow light or something. But so I used to do this all the time. I used to confuse pothos with philodendrons, with the heartleaf philodendron, and you can see why. They're very similar, especially when you get a pothos that is almost completely green like this one. And this one is almost completely green because I don't give it that much light. If I gave it more light, more of the coloring would come out, because it's actually a golden pothos. So It doesn't get that much light, but it's doing okay. It's been doing fine. And I even have like a new little growth there. But the main difference that you can look for with these guys to tell the difference is, number one, the leaf shape. The Heartleaf Philodendron definitely has more of that heartleaf shape compared to, yeah, these leaves. I mean, it still is kind of, this is still like vaguely heart-leafed, but it's more of like a much more rounded heart. You can think of it that way. And then the second thing that can help you identify is if you look at like the nodes and like where the new leaves are coming out, you have like the leaf nodes, but you don't have any of those leaf sheaths. Whereas a Heartleaf Philodendron and a lot of philodendrons have these, let me find a good one. I was kind of peeling them off earlier. Here we go. They have these sheaths here. And you can kind of just, once they turn brown, you can kind of just peel them off. But that's what they look like. And they're just, it's fine to leave them on, but you can also take them off if they're annoying you. It's just literally like dead plant matter at that point when it's brown. But don't peel it off before it's brown. Don't do that. So philodendrons do have those kind of sheaths that end up turning brown and falling off after the new leaf has emerged. So that's one thing that you can look for to help you kind of identify which is which. So yeah, this is a heartleaf one. This is one of the most common ones, probably the most common philodendron. It's just got a beautiful shape and color to it. Like, I love the glossiness of the leaves, and I haven't even like cleaned the leaves recently, but they still have this beautiful glossiness. I love the shape, and I love the way it kind of just like tumbles over each other in a way that's a little bit different than a pothos. So yeah, I like the heartleaf ones a lot. So I'm going to show you a couple other philodendron varieties. Now this one, I'm going to have to Google this name as well so I can give you the full. Okay. This is a Philodendron Brandtiatum. Brandtiatum. Philodendron Brandtiatum, or sometimes just called Philodendron Brandy, to shorten it, and that's what I will call it now. Or that's what I've been calling it because I don't want to have to say the full name. This is a more rare philodendron. I haven't had this one for too long, so I can't give you like a ton of my own experience with it, but I have, well, for the first while that I had it, I was giving, it was in a lower light place, but I was giving it grow light supplementation, and I definitely noticed like it seemed to be benefiting from the grow light. And now I actually have it closer to a window, so it's not near a grow light, but it's closer to a window. I'm gonna see how it does. But I mean, I haven't noticed anything like too bad. This definitely seems to be more of a delicate plant than the Philodendron Heartleaf. But it's just pretty. It's really pretty because it's got this silver coloration to it and like these cool veins. And it has been growing for me. I have these, this is some new leaves coming in. So yeah, these are going to be more expensive. They're a little bit more, they're more rare. I wouldn't say it's, some people classify them as like, oh, super rare philodendron, but I don't think it's super rare. I mean, the fact that like I was able to find it in my local store, but I don't know. I think there are a lot of stores that you won't find this in. So I think my local stores just, I think they're just good at getting somewhat rare plants in, Okay, so that's a Philodendron Brandtiatum. And it's going to be eventually, I think it's eventually kind of like that vining type as well. But right now it's more kind of upright because it's small. The next one that I will show you that is also evining trailing type is this beautiful Philodendron micans. This is one of my favorite plants. These are also called velvet philodendrons because the leaves have this beautiful velvety texture. It's not like furry or fuzzy, but it is like kind of velvety. Oh, it's so nice. And they have just this beautiful coloration. Like, oh my God, you can't get this in a regular philodendron at all. Like, you know, you have the leaves that are like this beautiful dark green, but then you have these moments where it's more red, and the undersides of the leaves get kind of red sometimes. And not all of them, like, you know, that one's not. That one's only got a slight kind of reddish tinge, but you get these just beautiful reddish kind of moment. And like the new leaves that come in, like, look at that. That's got a lot of red in it. It will probably turn into more of a green, but they just have like, I mean, look at this, like, you know, the back of these all just have a slight kind of reddish, here, this one too, this one, slight reddish tinge. There was even like, one day I was checking this plant and I found this really like bright red leaf, like right in the middle. I think it had died. Like, I think it was actually like, you know, one of those leaves that was kind of like a mistake leaf, and it died, unfortunately. So I didn't get to see the red leaf while it was like living on my plant. But it was so cool to find just like this really bright red leaf. And the reason why it probably died is because, like, you know, all these plants that have variation to them, variegation and variation to them in terms of their coloring, you know, whether it's the Aglaonema or the philodendrons or the pothos, like, that is actually counterintuitive to the plants surviving and doing well, because plants have their chlorophyll in the green parts. They don't have their chlorophyll in white or pink parts or the bright yellow. They have it in the green parts. So plants need to have at least some green in there to keep producing chlorophyll, to keep producing food. That's how they get their food, as we all know from 9th grade biology. So sometimes when you have plants that do have like some variegation on them, sometimes you will get a leaf that's like all white or all pink or all red or whatever. And a lot of times that leaf will die pretty quickly, because it's just not able to sustain itself, because it's not making any food, it's not making any chlorophyll, or the plant kind of just like kills it off because it's like, you're not helping us grow, you're not producing anything, so bye-bye. You know, this whole idea of like variegation being a very sought after thing in the plant world, that's a human construct, you know. Variegation definitely can benefit plants in the wild in some way, I'm not sure. Probably it can probably help plants in some ways in terms of like, oh, if there's a really bright area and the plant doesn't want to get too much light, then the variegation would actually really help, right? But, you know, for the sake of individual leaves and stuff, if a whole pink leaf, a whole red leaf, a whole white leaf comes out, there's a good chance that leaf's gonna die. And it's okay. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong as a plant owner. It just means that leaf wasn't benefiting the plant, and they can't, you know, to them, it's like not worth it to keep that leaf around. So, ooh, this thing in here is really red. Yeah, it's really pretty. Okay, so going on to other micans. Other philodendrons. That was a mican. That was a philodendron mican. This is a Philodendron Brasil. This is also another really common philodendron. The micans, I should mention, I forgot to mention, that is a more rare trailing philodendron. It's not super rare. It's not like the Philodendron Spiritus Sancti, but it is more rare. You generally can't find it at the big box stores and at a lot of nurseries. But I think it's like, I think more and more people are starting to sell it. This Philodendron Brasil, this one's pretty common. And it has the same kind of trailing as the Heartleaf Philodendron. It has a slightly different shape to the leaves, but it's really pretty because it's got these bright green, yellowish splashes down the middle. It's usually, yeah, like a right down the middle kind of thing. Or, you know, sometimes you'll get a leaf like this one where it's like split in half, and that's always kind of cool. This one I also have not had for a terribly long time. I also have this in front of a grow light. So it seems to be producing pretty well in front of the grow light. When I have it in a more low light situation, like I think when I first got it, I had it in a more low light situation. It didn't seem to be doing too hot. So again, that's why I say like philodendrons, I think, are a little bit more picky than a pothos, but they're still easy care. So yeah, this is cool if you just like really love that variegation and you want that like nice splash of color. What else do I have to show you? I think there's just one more philodendron. Do I have another one? Hold on, I might have one more. No, I think that's it. So I'm going to show you a philodendron that is not a trailing philodendron and is a different growing type of philodendron. Oh, I forgot. I actually do have one more, but I have to grab it because it's really big. This is a philodendron. It was sold to me as a Prince of Orange, but it might actually be a Mccolley's finale. I'm not sure. There seems to be a lot of overlap between the Prince of Orange, the Mccolley's finale. But the key kind of aspect of these particular ones, the Prince of Orange or the Mccolley's, is that the new leaves come out orange or red. This one is more of a darker brownish red, but when I think it was this one, when I first got it, this one was much more orange when I first got it. So the way that these plants grow is they grow a little bit more compact. They won't get terribly tall, like they're not going to get that tall, and they're also not going to trail, but they'll get bushier, like they'll get a little wider. So this is nice because this one's just really cool to see the leaves unfurled. Like this one hasn't completely unfurled yet. And it's been like that for a little while. So I'm actually thinking I might move it and give it a little bit brighter light to kind of help that leaf unfurl. It's been getting like okay light, but I think it might need a little bit more. And then it's got another new leaf coming out. So yeah, the way these work is the new leaves come out either orange or reddish. And then over time, it turns green. Like this one is almost fully green at this point. And eventually it'll be like that. So yeah, the orange and the red, like they may look really stunning, but this is just another example of like it reverts to green because, you know, the orange and red does nothing to really help the plant in the long term. So it has to revert back to green to make that yummy plant food out of sunlight and water and carbon dioxide. So these are really cool just in terms of their more compact shape, and the leaf shape is really cool, and they kind of just like they're upright and kind of perky, and but also just like, you know, they'll get a little wider but not, you know, not as tall like I said. So it's something a little different. There's also a variety of this called Philodendron Moonlight. There's a bunch of philodendrons that kind of come in this shape and in this grow pattern. So you can really look for some cool varieties like that. In terms of watering this one, I've been giving it a little bit, like I think I don't always wait for it to completely dry out before I water it. I think this one can do with like a little bit more water. But I'm still pretty careful to like make sure that I'm not overwatering it. Yeah, so it's, I mean, I have also not had this one for that long, but what I've been doing with it so far works. I have it in a northeast window. It's not like right up against the window, so I think what I might do is I'm gonna move it to a different window where it can kind of be like a little bit closer, and I think it might get a little bit more light, especially since it's winter now, or well, not winter, but like we're coming out of the growing season now, so the light is getting less and less strong, and it's lasting, less and less. We're getting less and less light during the day, which is, it's just always sad, to leave growing season. But it's been doing well, so I'm hopeful that it will keep doing well through the winter. I'm gonna get my last philodendron. Hold on one moment. Okay, so I'm moving this recording a little bit because I just realized that this plant actually has a ton of ants in it. Excuse me. So I think I'm gonna repot it. I'm gonna refresh the soil. I'm not sure. We have had ants coming into the apartment for a while now, so I don't think the ants came with the plant. And I have not heard of ants as a thing that can actively harm your plant, but I still just kind of don't want them living in the soil. So I didn't want to bring the plant up on my bed. So I'm just kind of going down here on the ground. But I'm going to show you this. This is a Philodendron selloum, otherwise known as a Philodendron hope. Make sure I don't have ants crawling on me. This is a really cool plant just because of the leaf shapes. Yeah, and I have a new leaf coming in here. You can see, sorry, I'm not very good at filming these. But yeah, this one is just cool because it makes a good floor plant because it's so big. And the leaf shapes are really cool. Now this one has these big leaves are kind of dying, I think, and like yellowing, like you can see this one in particular. And I'm not sure if it's because when I first got it, I think I wasn't giving it very good light. It could be that. But now I have it in front of a grow light now. So I'm hoping that will help to either stop these leaves from yellowing or to just benefit the plant overall. I think sometimes when you have the big older leaves yellow, it doesn't, and then you can see this one is completely gone. It doesn't always mean that you're doing something wrong. It doesn't always mean that you're not giving it enough light, or that it's not getting enough water or getting too much water. Sometimes it just means that the older leaves are dying off to make room for new leaves. And sometimes that's just that's the cycle of the plant. And I've had that happen with my, my big Chinese evergreen up there. I've definitely had, I can tell like overall this plant is very happy, but sometimes I'll have a leaf kind of yellow and just kind of fall off. And it's just like, oh, it's okay. It's just kind of, one leaf, and it's just the equivalent of like a snake shedding its skin, or, maybe for whatever reason that one leaf like kind of got broken a little bit, or just was not getting as much sun as the other leaves or something like that. So, when you have a leaf yellowing, it's not always a sign of distress or that you're doing something wrong. You just kind of have to troubleshoot and evaluate, which is what I'm definitely gonna try. I'm gonna try to do with this guy. I'm gonna pour a hydrogen peroxide and water mixture into this to try to kill off any ants and maybe any other bugs that might be in there, and then I'm going to repot it, give it fresh new soil. Hopefully that will help at least get rid of the ants. I don't know if the yellowing, leaves is due just to not getting enough light, or maybe there is a pest problem deep in the roots. So we're going to see. But this is a really cool plant. I would definitely recommend it for like, statement plants, or to really give that cool jungle vibe to your room. It's just such a cool plant, and I love the curly, frilly leaves. So yeah, that is it for philodendrons. I think that's literally all the philodendrons I have. But philodendrons are definitely like really cool, and I definitely think you should seek them out. If you're a new plant owner, just remember they're not quite as indestructible as a pothos, in my opinion at least. But try them out and see what you think. Thanks for watching.